Hello, my name is Kay Herring, and I welcome you to Candidates Up Front, a public interest program of Berks Community Television, BCTV, and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. Candidates Up Front will introduce voters to candidates running in this year's primary to be held on May 19th. Contested races for this primary are in Pennsylvania Senate District 48 and Pennsylvania House Districts 126, 128, and 130. A primary election is where Democrats and Republicans choose their candidates for the November ballot. There are no ballot questions this primary season, so only voters who have registered as a Democrat or a Republican can vote. To check your voting status, you can go to Pennsylvania's state website, vote.pa.gov, that's vote.pa.gov, and there you can register to vote, change your party designation, locate your polling place, or apply for a mail-in ballot and get lots of other information about the election. To change your party designation, which can be done at any time, follow instructions on that website to update your registration. You may change your party designation even if it is just so that you can vote in this primary. You can also call the local Election Services office at 610-478-6490. The deadline to register is May 4th, and the deadline to apply for a mail-in ballot is May 12th. We are interviewing candidates who wanted to be interviewed in contested races only. For each race, the candidates will get the same questions and will have the same amount of time to answer them. Let's begin. Hello, my name is Kay Herring, and I am with the League of Women Voters of Berks County. Today's interview is with a candidate running for the 126th Pennsylvania House District. Two candidates are competing for this office, Democrat Jacklyn Rusnock and Democrat Joshua Caltagirone. The district includes Laureldale, Mount Penn, St. Lawrence, Muhlenberg, Lower Alsace Township, and parts of the city of Reading and Exeter Township. State representatives serve a 2-year term in the state legislature in Harrisburg. They initiate legislation and vote to create laws. They pass the budget, including taxes and expenditures of the state. They help constituents with issues regarding state government. The salary for a state representative is about $110,000 per year, plus benefits and expenses. Please note that the opinions expressed in this interview are those of the candidate and are not the opinions of League of Women Voters or of BCTV. Today's interview is with Jacklyn Rusnock. Welcome. Ms. Rusnock, please tell our viewers about yourself and why are you running for office?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me here today to be able to talk to the constituents a little bit about myself and some of my visions moving forward for the 126th district. So I am currently the state representative in the 126th district, which you had laid out the territory for. I am in my first term as the state representative, and I am seeking re-election for this seat. Before that, just a little background on myself. I was a dental hygienist for close to 25 years, 20 of those years in the Muhlenberg area, which is in the district. And then I switched gears and I taught high school students by building a dental program at our local Reading Muhlenberg Career and Technology Center. So spent the last 11 years of my life preparing the next generation of gentle dental professionals is what I like to say at the Career and Technology Center. So I had the opportunity to run for this seat in the last election, and I would like to continue the work that I started up in Harrisburg, mainly because I believe that government should work to lower our costs, expand opportunities for us, and quite frankly, just put people first. And I am a representative that would like to continue my leadership fight for my constituents every day in affordability and fairness. And hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about some of the things that I've been doing up in Harrisburg to help in some of those issues.
Okay, great. Thank you. What are, if you want to name just 2 or 3 of the issues on which, if elected, you feel that you can make a difference?
Sure. So most currently, we are experiencing an affordability issue. Our families, our individuals are being squeezed from every direction. And so I am working with my colleagues up in Harrisburg to reduce our rising energy costs. I actually am working on a bill that was just passed out of the House the last time we were in session a few weeks ago for putting solar on warehouses to help with increasing energy costs. I'm also working with my colleagues to protect our health care because we are one incident away from people going broke or being bankrupt, and that just should not be in this country. Working to help our workforce. We have a workforce shortage. I come from the world of career and tech ed, and I am looking to partner with our skilled labor workers to see what we can do to make an impact, because we have an aging workforce and we need that next generation to be skilled and knowledgeable and ready to go and fill in these open career slots when they come available.
Okay. On your first day of session, you will vote for the House-Senate rules. These rules say party leaders and committee chairs decide which legislation moves forward. What do you think of this system, and would you try to change it?
So that's a great question, and as this being my first term, this is my first opportunity to see how this works up there and how legislation is brought forward and voted on. And you're right, the party leaders, the majority party leaders are the ones that are in control and get to decide the bills, the legislation that will come before us on the floor, and we get a chance to vote on it. From what I've seen so far, I wouldn't have any inclination to change it. I feel that it works. And so Leader Matt Bradford, I have a lot of respect for him, and it is not an easy job. There are 102 Democrats that he needs to work with, and we all have different issues and things that we're trying to help our constituents with, and he does a really great job ensuring that all of our issues and topics are being addressed and looked at, and he does a great job doing that. So as far as changing the system at this point, for me, I would say no. Maybe if you asked me that question in a few years, I might have a different answer for that.
Okay, fair enough. Here's a question that many people have about the budget and passing of the budget. The House and the Senate have been politically divided in Pennsylvania. What would you be willing to do to get a budget passed on time?
So another interesting question, and I got to experience my first budget season last year, and that was interesting to say the least. And I am a very positive person, and I kept saying I'm going to stay positive and we're going to get this budget passed on time, or if not on time, close to on time. And that did not turn out to be the case. It took an extraordinary long time to come to the table and get the budget passed. What would I be willing to do to get it passed on time? I like what we did this year. The governor had his address ready to go and started it a little bit earlier so that we could get started as a body moving on some of his goals. So hopefully by starting it a little bit earlier, giving us a chance to have more conversations with our colleagues, we'll be able to get this passed through on time.
Okay. Thank you. When the United States counts its population, we know that as the census, there are always changes in the number of voters in each district. That needs to be evened out by redistricting. In Pennsylvania, for legislative districts, that should be done by legislators in the current system, or should it be done by a nonpartisan citizens group? Whoever does it, should there be rules of what they can or cannot do? Tell us your thoughts on that subject.
So redistricting is definitely a a topic that we've talked about. I have a colleague that I am close to in the House that has legislation that he would like to see passed in order to change the rules of redistricting. And what that would entail is changing things around a little bit and not giving the legislators all of the power to be able to draw these lines, bringing in more of a nonpartisan group. And I am definitely in favor for doing something like that in order to maybe bring a little bit more faith back into the system from some of our constituents and residents here in Pennsylvania that may feel that they have a little distrust of the system. If we could bring people from the outside in to help decide these lines, they might feel that they are a little bit more fairly drawn and inclusive of the people that truly live in these districts.
Okay. Pennsylvania currently has a closed primary election. Only Democrats and Republicans can vote for a candidate. That leaves 16% of registered voters left out, which is 1.4 million voters. Some say all registered voters should be able to vote in the primaries, as all taxpayers are paying for it. What do you think would be the best system, and what rules would you want in place?
So I have, just within the last few days, I've actually received this question. It seems that a lot of people who are not registered in one party or the other would like the opportunity to have their voice heard in the primary. In having those conversations, I agree. I think everybody should have the ability to vote and have their voice heard in terms of the primaries. This is something that I've told to the people that I've talked to over the last few days, is something that I would need to do some more research on and understand it a little bit better. So for me to give you a straight answer on this right now, I really don't have a good solid answer for you. It would be something that I am researching and certainly getting back to the constituents that I've talked to over the last few days to address that concern for them.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. The U.S. Constitution gives states the power to run elections. In Pennsylvania, the state gives the administrative function to the counties. Recently, the U.S. government has tried to have more say in how local elections are run. What are your thoughts on which level of government should handle elections?
There is a lot of talk around this right now, and I know there's a lot of uncertainty and there's fear swirling around our elections. I can tell you that the elections are given to the states, and that's where I feel they should remain. Governor Shapiro has made it very clear that he will fight for our rights here in the state of Pennsylvania, and that the Constitution, gives us those rights, and we have the Constitution on our side. So I believe that the election should stay here. At the state level, I believe that our counties, especially Berks County Election Services, does an excellent job. I've had the opportunity to tour their facilities and speak to the people that work in the office, and they are prepared. They are prepared for any problem that could arise before the election or on election day, and they are prepared to address any issues or problems that may arise on those days. So I think having it at the state level and giving the counties the ability to run the elections is really a secure way of doing it, and I would like to see it continue in that manner.
Okay. Let's switch topics a little bit, and I'm sure viewers have heard about data centers in the state of Pennsylvania, and we've heard that they use significant amounts of electricity and water. And some people think that this will have a negative impact on our local communities. Others say they will not. What are your thoughts on this? And do you feel that we need a special law maybe to protect the local communities where the data centers might be located?
So you are right, data centers are coming, and so this is actually a topic that I am very involved in with my colleagues. I sit on the energy committee up in Harrisburg, and you're right. Data centers will require a tremendous amount of electricity. It will put a tremendous burden on our grid. We are already in, the process of knowing that we are in a crisis for energy, and so what can we do? So yes, data centers need to be responsible when they come in. I am working with my colleagues to assure that our resources are taken care of, our water resources are taken care of. That is a bill by one of my colleagues, Rep. Kyle Mullins, who is assuring that resources will be taken care of. And then another colleague of mine, Rep. Kyle Donahue, has a bill for a model ordinance that municipalities can actually look to. We are not telling municipalities what to do. We're just giving them a model ordinance so that if a data center should propose to come into the area, they're prepared to be ready to set parameters for water usage, for noise pollution, for where they would like the data center to actually be set up, where is it zoned to go, so that it is in the best location that it could possibly be in the municipality that they are looking to set up. So yes, data centers are coming. It is a very important thing for us to take a look at. And yes, as legislators, I feel it's important for us to put parameters in place to protect our citizens and the resources that we have.
Okay, thank you. Another topic that lots of people talk about is school funding and taxes. Our Pennsylvania Constitution requires the state to provide 50% of the money to run our schools. And while the state has increased school funding in the past several budgets, it's still way below the 50%. And this shifts the burden to local property taxes. How would you address this taxing issue? Increase income tax, increase sales tax, get rid of property tax? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I love this question. So property tax is a huge issue. It has always been something on the minds of our constituents, going back to my two previous, legislators in the seat. And so it's important to fund our schools. And how are we going to do that? And a lot of times I talk to my constituents, and they have plenty of ideas as to how we can do this. And increasing the sales tax is one, increasing income tax is another. When we talk about it and we look to eliminate that money coming in from personal property tax and business tax, we would be eliminating $28.5 billion of revenue coming in that we use to fund our schools. So we would need to find a way to make up that $28.5 billion hole, and that would be through income tax hike and sales tax hike. And to put that into perspective, because $28.5 billion is a very large number, it's hard to wrap your head around it. So to help you understand what that would look like, that would require us to have a tax on every man, woman, and child in the state of Pennsylvania of up to $2,200 per person. That's how we would make up that deficit. So as much as I understand property taxes is the bane of all of our existences, we have to have a good plan for how we're going to make up for it if we eliminate it. Just one more point that I would like to make is when we use these property taxes, school property taxes are then able to be distributed by your local school boards. They understand the needs of their community and their students, and so they can best spend their money that way. If we eliminate that and we go to the sales tax and the income tax, all that money will come into Harrisburg, and then you will have to have the Department of Education then be able to distribute all of that money out to the school districts fairly. And sometimes that can be a bone of contention when people think of it from that perspective. So as much as I would love to help with that part of it, there's still some more conversations that need to be had, and we'll continue to have so we can help in those situations.
Okay. As far as income tax, Pennsylvania currently has a flat rate income tax. Whatever your income, you pay the same percentage. Should we change to a graduated tax where people with more income pay a larger percentage?
That's a really good question, and that is, again, something that I am not very knowledgeable about, that I would need to do some more research on, and I know that it is important to people. I know that when people say, let's tax people that have the more money, maybe, and the argument there is, well, they can put more money into the economy, if they can keep it in their own pocket. So again, a little bit of a complicated issue, just would want to do a little bit more research on before I could get a more educated answer to that.
Okay. We have about a minute left, and you can give us your closing remarks before I wrap up. So what else would you have to tell viewers?
So May 19th is the primary, and elections are very important. So we would love to have you come out, have your voice heard, press that button for who you think will be the best person to represent you. Again, I'm working hard alongside my colleagues up in Harrisburg, and just over the last few weeks, we have made sure that we have delivered and advanced legislation that raises the wage for people, supports our working families, and protects consumers. And that is work that I have started and would love to have the opportunity to continue up in Harrisburg for you as your state representative. So please, on May 19th, get out the vote and have your voice heard.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your views with us today. Viewers, today's interview was with Democrat Jacklyn Rusnock, and please remember there is another candidate for the 126th Pennsylvania House District, Democrat Joshua Caltagirone. You will find candidates' upfront interviews on BCTV and its website and YouTube page. And remember, Pennsylvania's primary election is Tuesday, May 19th. For more information about candidates, go to the League's online voters guide, vote411.org. And if you have any other questions about election procedures, a great place to contact is Berks County Election Services. Thank you for watching Candidates Upfront.